Well, Bill and I are off to a bumpy start trying to hop on this whole podcast bandwagon, so we reached out to a few professionals for some advice. Joining us now are the hosts of the new podcast, Mr. Johnson's Time Machine, actors Dan Bakkedahl and Joe Canale. Welcome, dudes.
Hey, Toony, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Dan and Joe, we're thrilled that you're here. Before we talk about the new podcast, we have to address the big elephant in the room. You're both actors, pretty famous actors for that. Where do viewers know you from?
I think, most people know me from Veep. Life in Pieces was a big show for me. Things like Mindy Project.
I've done the Mindy Project as well, and I hang out outside a lot of supermarkets, so people might recognize me from that.
Hey, guys, let's talk about your podcast, Mr. Johnson's Time Machine. What's that all about?
The concept is that there's a scientist. I play the scientist, Mr. Johnson, who invented a radio telescope that can pick up any sound that ever emanated from the face of the earth. It can find it and play it for you.
And I play a historian who then guides us with his technology through different periods of time. So, for example, if you wanted to hear the Gettysburg Address, we could zoom in on that.
Oh, that was horrible.
Oh, Mr. President, you did great.
I
You did a
wasn't
great
feeling
job.
it.
Well,
Oh.
you know what? I wouldn't have guessed that. You seemed on your game up there.
Oh, it's so verbose. I said 7 years ago. I could have just said 87.
Most podcasts are just two people talking. This one actually has a little bit of production in it. So I don't know if that's the type of podcast that you guys are thinking of doing.
I don't know. I got to come up with our own concept. What do you suggest? How do we do that?
I mean, have you invented any amazing technology that you could use in your podcast?
Not really.
Not this week.
Well, do you have a cool concept that a lot of people would be interested in, some subject that you have expertise in?
Well, Bill does really know a lot about toys.
I do.
And he wants to do a whole thing about toys. I'm just not, I'm an adult fish.
The Toy Mendes podcast, do you think that has legs?
Toy Mendes? I like that. I think that sounds really good. Maybe you can find a way to hybrid that, find something that Toony is into, and make it the toys and something.
Yeah.
And I think there's something there with alliteration.
All right, yeah, I like that. We're on the right
He
track
likes
now.
donuts. He's a big donut
I like
eater.
donuts.
There you go. Toys and
Donuts. Okay. And here's another thing. We had no expectations. And I think that's also an important part. If you go into it thinking, oh, what is going to get us 1 million followers? Nothing is going to automatically do that.
Right.
So we just did it to entertain ourselves and our friends. It's a entertaining kind of thing, both to do and hopefully to listen to.
So that would be maybe your number one piece of advice, is find something you love and talk about it.
Yeah, or get Jason Bateman to be on your podcast.
Yes. If you can get a celebrity, that would be huge.
Dan and Joe, thank you so much for joining us and sharing so much valuable knowledge.
Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
True pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it is fun talking to me. Tuners, you can check out Mr. Johnson's Time Machine podcast on iTunes and Spotify.